Tom's heart raced as he searched desperately through the seemingly endless jungle, calling out for Mimi. The dense, tangled greenery stretched out in all directions, swallowing his cries and amplifying his fear. The jungle wasn't just a beautiful place. It was a mysterious and dangerous environment where it was easy to get lost or encounter unexpected problems. Now, with Mimi missing, Tom felt those warnings come to life, adding to his fear and concern. But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. Tom, a dedicated wildlife photographer, had always been driven by an insatiable wanderlust. His camera had captured the raw beauty of countless landscapes and the intricate lives of animals in every corner of the globe. His passion for wildlife photography was not just about capturing images, but about connecting with the untamed and preserving its fleeting moments for others to appreciate. But one place had always slipped through his fingers: Bali. For years, it was a dream just beyond his grasp. Bali, a photographer's paradise, with its vivid colors, rich forests, and deep spiritual charm, had always pulled at his heart. Yet destiny seemed to conspire against him. Just when he was about to set foot on the island, sudden assignments or tight finances would yank him back. Year after year, his dreams of visiting Bali would crumble at the last moment, leaving him with nothing but unfulfilled longing. Bali was finally within reach. As his plane touched down, the tropical air greeted him like an old friend. Hungry to immerse himself in the island's enigmatic spirit, Tom prepared for his inaugural journey to Bali's revered temples, the very core of the island's mystical essence. But everything aligned perfectly this time. A rare 10-day break appeared on Tom's calendar, and he eagerly grabbed the opportunity. With preparations for his trip in full swing, he darted around the city, shopping and organizing. Yet on his very first day in Bali, something unexpected happened. He came across a lone kitten on the street. Abandoned and hungry, its mews drew Tom's attention. And once he saw it, he knew he had to save it. The small kitten had been curled up by the roadside, her soft fur matted and dirty, her big soulful eyes brimming with longing. The sight tugged at Tom's heartstrings, and in that moment, he knew he couldn't just walk away. Traveling a strange country together with a young cat wasn't conventional, and it certainly wouldn't be easy, but he couldn't abandon her. He decided to continue his trip and bring Mimi home with him afterwards. Yet fate had a dramatic twist in store. Under the relentless blaze of the midday sun, Tom and Mimi approached the ancient temple gates. His pulse quickened as he gazed in awe at the weathered stones, rising majestically from the depths of the jungle. Mimi's purred happily as she sat on Tom's shoulder in the ancient woods and temples. She stared excitedly at every animal she saw and darted playfully from one shoulder to the other. It was clear that Mimi was thoroughly enjoying her adventure, every moment radiating her joy and enthusiasm. Every step felt surreal, like stepping out of time and into a world that belonged more to the past than the present. Vines crept over ancient walls, embracing statues of forgotten gods, their faces locked in eternal judgment. Tom's camera hung loosely around his neck, but for the first time in a long while, he was more interested in absorbing the moment than capturing it. The temple, though weathered by time, was magnificent. Its stone carvings depicting gods, demons, and mythical creatures told stories of ancient battles and forgotten kingdoms. Monkeys darted to and fro, swinging from the trees with a kind of chaotic grace. The scene was both funny and unbelievable. The monkeys' playful energy filled the sacred temple grounds. Tom had read about how crafty they were, always ready to grab anything from sunglasses to food. He couldn't help but smile as a daring monkey swiped a bag of chips from a nearby tourist. The visitor laughed, taking photos while the monkey climbed up a tree, settling on a high branch. The sound of crunching chips echoed through the air as the monkey enjoyed its price, looking down with cheeky satisfaction. Another monkey swooped down from a vine, its eyes gleaming with mischief. It darted across the stone path, snatching a brightly colored hat off a child's head. The hat was far too big for the monkey's small frame, but it didn't deter the little thief. It wrestled with the hat, tugging and pulling, until it finally managed to get it perched atop its head at a jaunty angle. The sight of the monkey trotting around with its oversized hat, parading before an audience of amused onlookers, was comically endearing. Yet another monkey managed to wrest a bottle of water from an unsuspecting tourist's backpack. The monkey's dexterity was impressive as it expertly unscrewed the cap with nimble fingers, taking a few sips before tossing the bottle aside, much to the bewilderment of its owner. Tom laughed along with the crowd, enjoying the playful chaos of it all. But then something strange caught his eye. Out of the corner of his vision, he saw a monkey darting across the stone path, clutching something in its arms. It wasn't unusual for these nimble creatures to carry off whatever they could grab. Monkeys were notorious for their opportunistic behavior, often snatching anything from snacks to sunglasses with a dexterity that was both impressive and infuriating. Tom, with his camera ready, stopped to photograph the monkeys. Meanwhile, Mimi sat down in a spot in the sun, cleaning herself. The monkeys were up to their usual playful tricks, adding to the unique charm of Bali. Here, even the everyday seemed extraordinary, making every moment feel special. Tom was enjoying his trip, taking in all the rich heritage around him, but suddenly something happened that he could never have imagined. As he put away his camera, he realized Mimi was missing. His heart sank. Taken up with his photography, he had forgotten to keep an eye on Mimi, and now she was gone. Tom felt devastated. Where could Mimi be? Surely she would be somewhere close by. The jungle could be incredibly dangerous, especially for a young cat. Tom started calling out her name and asking tourists if they had seen a kitten. His instincts started screaming that something was terribly wrong when he couldn't find her. Struggling to shake off the panic, he debated his next move. Then, as if answering his silent plea, a monkey appeared, clutching something tightly in its tiny hands. The sight hit Tom like a thunderbolt. There, wriggling helplessly, was Mimi, his precious kitten. A wave of terror and resolve surged through him. Without a second thought, Tom plunged into the underbrush, racing after the monkey with every ounce of strength he had. Seeing his tiny kitten being dragged away filled him with dread. He couldn't understand where the monkey was taking her. Monkeys didn't eat meat, so why take Mimi? Horrible thoughts flooded his mind, nearly paralyzing him. Tom chose to follow the monkey deeper into the jungle, ignoring calls from concerned tourists. The known paths vanished behind him as the dense canopy thickened. Within moments, he was disoriented, but stopping wasn't an option. Just when he feared he'd lost them, a faint mew broke through the silence. That has to be Mimi, he told himself, and rushed toward the sound. Ducking behind a tree, Tom gasped for breath and scanned the dense foliage. Then he saw it, a small weathered building nestled in the overgrown wilderness. A monkey approached the building, carrying a small handbag. It wasn't the one that took Mimi. Then two more appeared. One with sunglasses, the other clutching a plastic bag. All were heading inside, each with a stolen item. Tom froze. This wasn't random theft, it was organized. The realization slammed into him. The monkeys had been trained to steal. The real criminals lurked behind the scenes, manipulating the operation. Tom's fear turned to fury. This wasn't just about a lost kitten anymore. It was a deeply twisted operation. Discovering the full extent of the conspiracy fueled his determination to save Mimi and shut it down. Mimi wasn't a stolen object. She was his companion. Taken by mistake, she now faced uncertain danger. Tom's hands trembled. Would they hurt her once they realized she couldn't be sold? Forcing his legs to move, he stepped toward the building. Inside, shadows shifted. Then men emerged, faces half covered, movements practiced and silent. They scanned the area like predators, as if expecting someone. Tom's stomach dropped. There were 6 or 7 of them. The scale of the trap became clear. These thieves had perfected their scheme, using monkeys as unsuspecting accomplices. By luring tourists deeper into the jungle with stolen goods, they created a web of deception. The monkeys appeared harmless, masking the humans behind the operation. A chill ran down Tom's spine. And amid his racing thoughts, one terrifying question consumed him. Where was Mimi? Had she been hidden? Or worse, the monkey that took her may have mistaken her for a valuable item. But Mimi wasn't just an object. She was family. Tom's fear mounted with every second. He had to act quickly. Pressing into the shadows, he felt helpless. Armed men moved with precision. This was no random theft. It was a calculated operation. Tom's heart sank. He couldn't risk being caught. His best chance was to get back to the temple and alert the authorities. With that resolve, he retraced his steps through the dense jungle, hoping he'd find his way out. Eventually, the serene temple came into view, a stark contrast to the danger behind him. He jumped into a taxi and rushed to the nearest police station. Bursting through the doors, Tom breathlessly recounted the bizarre events. The monkeys, the jungle building, the men, the stolen items, and Mimi. At first, officers exchanged skeptical glances. The idea of monkeys involved in crime sounded absurd. One even smirked, dismissing the story. But Tom didn't back down. His voice shook with urgency as he described the operation's precision and how tourists were being lured. "My cat is missing," he pleaded. "Please, I'm telling the truth." His intensity silenced the room. As he detailed the sinister use of trained animals and the danger tourists unknowingly faced, the skepticism began to fade. The absurd started to seem possible. A hush fell as the weight of his story sank in. Expressions shifted. Amusement turned to concern. One officer finally stood, his face grim with understanding. The department acted. A team of plainclothes officers was dispatched to the temple and surrounding jungle. They searched the area meticulously, examined the scene Tom described, and interviewed witnesses. Their findings soon confirmed his claims. Evidence of a highly organized operation emerged, and then, deep in the jungle, they found a small cage, and inside it, Mimi. The monkeys, once tools in a criminal enterprise, were rescued. Authorities ensured their care, removing them from the criminals' grip. Free again, they could return to the jungle where they belonged. Tom's bravery had exposed a shocking scheme. His actions not only saved Mimi, but prevented others from falling into the same trap. The authorities commended him for his awareness and courage. As the sun set over the temple, casting golden hues across the sky, Tom stood by the gates, Mimi nestled in his arms. The contrast between the temple's peace and the danger he had uncovered was striking. With Mimi safe, Tom felt a wave of relief and gratitude. From terror to triumph, his journey had come full circle. He held her close, knowing they had faced something dark and made it out together.